Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you guys my Mokey Mokey Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for September 2018. Now this is actually a deck profile that a lot of you have requested for the longest time, and I just never actually got around to making it. The biggest part of it being I didn't have any, Mokey Mokeys. I think I had one, but I didn't want to really work on the deck until I could get 3 Mokey Mokeys. And then at my last visit to locals, I actually traded with a guy. When I looked in his binder, he had 2 Mokey Mokeys for trade, and I had one myself still at home. So I figured, that was the biggest sign to start and put together the deck, which the main point of the deck is just to use Mokey Mokey for all your plays, whether it be for the Mokey Mokey Smackdown play or to get out Mokey Mokey King, you name it. There's plenty to do in this deck with the Mokey. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So, for starters, like I'm sure most Mokey Mokey decks, I run 3 Mokey Mokey. This is your main card of the deck. He's involved in the fusion summon, like I said, of Mokey Mokey King. Just getting plenty of this guy out on the field to use for your Mokey Mokey Smackdown play, which I say would probably be the #1 play, is very important. And all the other monsters that you run as backup in the deck for this card all involve around just either whether it be special summoning him from the graveyard or the deck, and then just reusing it with also some of your spell and traps that we run in the deck as well. And then for extra backup for Mokey Mokey, I run 3 Shining Angels. Now, I might add in Nova Summoner as well, but Shining Angel, just, when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 light monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck in face of attack position. Now, this card is obviously your best way to do just quickly special summon out Mokey Mokey, or you could just sit on the Shining Angels for stall out. Just your basic play to go for sure when getting out the Mokey Mokey from the deck. But if you're going to go for the graveyard, I would run 3 Guiding Light. When this card is normal summon, you can target 1 level 1 light monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Now, with Guiding Light, you can special summon Mokey Mokey back, and if you have just Mokey Mokey and Guiding Light on the field, then you can, obviously go for a link play or overlay. It's very easy just to make use of the special summon of the Mokey Mokey with this card. You can also, obviously target Guiding Light with itself, but most of the time you want to grab back your good old Mokey Mokey. And I also run 3 Honest. Now this card is pretty standard in the deck just because of the fact that it's a hand trap for the Mokey Mokey for protection, having 300 attack, just being able to play defensively whenever your opponent attacks for something big with Honest definitely does come in handy for all your Mokey Mokey plays. And it's also fairy type, which will come in handy as well later when we talk about the Mokey Mokey Smackdown. And then lastly, I run 1 Archlord Christia with all the control of the different special summonings you're doing in your graveyard with all your fairy monsters to help support the Mokey Mokey. You can easily special summon this card out. Just another backup powerhouse to run if you're not using the 3000 attack point Mokey Mokey monsters you use with your Smackdown, but and you just want something else to rely on for sure. It locks down special summons, so just remember that. If you didn't want to run this, you could probably maybe fit in or mix and match Nova Summoner as well, just because it's a fairy monster. But having it just definitely does come in handy for sure with your other fairy monsters. And that is it for the monsters. I run a pretty small monster count, but when you see the spell cards and just the amount we run to search and special summon this card out, you'll be fine with the mix and match. Like I said, just main focus are these 3 cards right here. The others are all just support. This whole deck is just about Mokey Mokey. And for those spells, I run 2 Mokey Mokey Smackdown. I debated if I wanted to run 3 or not, which may be a possibility if we talk about a couple more spell cards in the deck. But with the playtesting, I found that, if I opened up 2 Mokey Mokey Smackdowns to start, it just, took away from some other plays that maybe I wanted to work on in the deck. So I decided just to stick with 2 Mokey Mokey Smackdowns for now. While face up Mokey Mokeys on your side of the field, if a fairy type monster on your side of the field is destroyed, the attack of all Mokey Mokey on your side of the field become 3,000, so the end phase of this turn. Now I remember one duel, it definitely came in handy. I had 3 Mokey Mokey on the field and 1 Guiding Light, and I was able just to crash with the Guiding Light. Took some damage there, but then all the Mokey Mokey bumped up to 3,000, and then I just attacked with them for game for the powerhouse. So it's quite funny. It makes your opponents definitely afraid of Mokey Mokey, and just you crashing with your own monsters to bump them up. And then, just benefit from there and go with your Stronghouse Mokey Mokeys. Like I said, this is one of your big plays you definitely like to go for. Just bumming them up to 3,000. And I also run 2 supply squads just for additional draw power and consistency with your cards, so you can benefit from the destruction as well with Smackdown and supply squads. So just 2 of those. And also 1-1-for-1. This is probably the fastest way to special summon out your Mokey Mokey, so make full use of that special summon. And I also run 2 Infernal Reckless Summon with this card. When exactly 1 monster with 1500 or less attack is special summoned to your field while your opponent controls a face-up monster. Special summon as many monsters as possible with the same name as the summoned monster from your hand, deck, and or graveyard in attack position. Also, your opponent special summons as many monsters as possible with the same name as their face-up monsters from their hand, deck, or graveyard. Now, this is what the card I used to basically go for that big Smackdown play that I talked to you about before. I was able to get the 3 Mokey Mokey on the field. I used the 1-for-1, special summoned it with the 1-for-1, then used Infernal Reckless Summon to get the 2 more. Took up the normal summon, attacked with it, and then just went from there. It was a very crazy play. I was amazed I was able to get off while testing, but still very happy with 2 in the deck. For the ones you don't use, obviously, they could just be discard fodder for some of the Nightmare cards we run in the extra deck for backup. And for if you don't want to run the 1-for-1 play as a main, you can also try 3 Unexpected Die. I have 2 in here for now, but if you want to take out the 1-for-1 for a 3rd, it could work just as well, since most of the time that's going to be your special summon you want to go for. If you control no monsters, special summon 1 level 4 or lower normal monster from the deck. Very, very easy there, but 1-for-1 comes in handy, which is why I stuck to 2 Unexpected Die in this, just for, if you have other monsters on the field, because you have to control none with this. Sometimes I just open up all my Mokey Mokeys, and I can't special summon off of this, so if I want, I still have a level 1 target in the deck to go for with Guiding Light, which is why I decided just to stick to this number with 2 in the deck. And I also run 2 Painful Decision. This one just helps to search out Mokey Mokey for normal summon plays. Getting them in the graveyard also does help as well. So 2 of this Painful Decision, which we'll get to in a bit with the graveyard play for sure. And I also run 2 Tri-White. Now this card actually definitely does come in handy for the special summon, but the biggest weakness of the Mokey Mokey deck is just when you lose to banishing, because even if 1 of your Mokey Mokey gets banished, it definitely does hurt. You target 3 level 2 or lower normal monsters in your graveyard, special summon them from the graveyard, so just make full use if your opponent wipes out your Mokeys with, let's say, like Dark Hole or Regeki. Just bring them all back and then go with the Smackdown or Link Summon plays, you name it, with this card. And with the Mokey Mokeys being a little weak, I run 2 Moonmere Shield just for an extra added protection when they are attacking. If you don't have the Smackdown option, this card definitely does come in handy otherwise, so very, very helpful there. And I also run 1 Fusion Recycling Plant and 2 Polymerizations. This is for your Mokey Mokey King play here. With this, you basically want to rely on basically searching out with the Fusion Recycling Plant. I thought about using King of the Swamp instead, kind of going with that, just because King of the Swamp can, act as a replacement for 1 of the Mokey Mokeys on Mokey Mokey King, and also, searching out Polymerization in the meantime as well. So if you want, you can take out the 1 Recycling Plant and then, basically just run that King of the Swamp. If you want to go 2 Swamp and 2 Polymerization, you could take out the Recycling Plant and also 1 of the Painful Decisions, just because I have the 1 in here just for easier search to grant access to, but most of the time when I have the extra 1 in my hand, it just becomes discard fodder for some of the Link monsters. And I also run 1 Monster Reborn. I thought of Soul Charge in this deck, but you really want to attack with your Mokeys when you can, so Soul Charging them back to the field, and the fact that we're running the Tri-White as well, it didn't really come up as much where Soul Charged helped me, so I just decided to stick with the Monster Reborn in the deck. And that is it for the spells. A lot of spells in this deck, but like I said, they just all benefit to the special summon for the Mokey Mokey. So very happy with those numbers. For traps, I run 1 League of Uniform Nomenclature. You select 1 face-up, level 2 or lower normal monster on your side of the field to activate this card. You special summon from your deck to your side of the field as many cards as possible with the same name as that selected monster. Now, it's just a short turn less, but still very helpful. If you wanted to run more League of Uniform Nomenclature and just, wait the turn for the trap, you can take out the Inferno Reckless summons just because of those numbers, if you want to rely on this more for easy special. But just like the Infernal, after you use it, they do become dead draws, so you want to be wary with all your different mixtures for sure on the numbers you're running. So that's why I only run 1. It definitely does help for sure. Like if I go first and I only have the 1, that situation pops up. But most of the time, I rely on the Inferno Reckless summon more. And I also run 2 Wabaku. This is just to help protect them, obviously, since they are weak little normal monsters that you got to keep safe. And also for extra protection, storing Mirror Force, definitely returning your opponent's pesky monsters to the hand or extra deck. It comes in handy for sure. And a small little Solemn Engine, 1 Judgment, 1 Warning, and 1 Strike to finish off the main deck. If you wanted to run 2 Strike, you could take out the 1 Warning for 2 Strike instead. But that's just me. You don't really use life points for anything else in this deck. The biggest worry with life points is when obviously you crash with some of your other monsters, take damage just so you can buff up your Mokeys. But most of the time, I don't see the problem with that in these cards in the deck. But that is it for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra. I run 1 Mokey Mokey King. Now, this is your main fusion monster, obviously, to go for. And when it is removed from the field, you can special summon as many Mokey Mokey as possible from your graveyard. So just basically it gets back Mokey Mokey. It's got the same attack as Mokey Mokey, same defense, just a different level, and obviously a special summon effect to make use of. It's very trolly. If you get out Mokey Mokey King against your opponent, I would say you just basically win there. Excuse me. And I also run 1 First of the Dragons. Now, you need 2 normal monsters to make this card. It must be fusion summoned and cannot be special summoned by other ways. You can only control 1 First of the Dragon, and this card cannot be destroyed by battle, except by battle with a normal monster, and is unaffected by other monster effects. Now, this card definitely is a preferred fusion to go after if you want to be a little more aggressive and a little less trolly, like with the Mokey Mokey King, just because of the easy fusion. You only need 2 Mokey Mokeys to make this card, and the fact that you can have that extra fusion option definitely does come in handy. It's also why I run more than 1 polymerization, just to have those options available to you. And I also run for the Link monsters 2 Link Spider for easy special summon plays with your Links to special summon if you open up multiple Mokey Mokeys from your hand as well. And also same goes for Link Karibo for easy defense. Same with Clara and Rushka for the main phase 2 as well. And for a couple other Link 2s, 1 Space Insulator, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and 1 Land Fornicus for the Link 2s. If you have Nightmare Cerberus, you can take the Space Insulator out instead. And also 1 Hip Hoshinengen for the fact that we run all light monsters for a little easier access to light Link summons for easy ones. And for some of the bigger ones, I also run 1 Gaia Saber. If you have Firewall, you can take this out, but I like the vanilla option available to you. Same with the Ningirsu for some of your lower links that you make with the deck. And 1 Yugioh, just because you need 2 or more monsters with different names. So if you go all out with the ones you're running, whether it be with the lower ones or the links, definitely quite possible to get that card out and be a powerhouse in the deck. Or you could run Topologic or Borrelord, you name it. Borrelode, you name it. Just because, just remember, you need effect monsters for a lot of those to make. And for Exceed monsters, I run 1 Utopia Roots and 1 Princess Sprite just for the rank 1 options, because most of the time with your other monsters, whether it be Shining Angel, which will be destroyed for Mokey Mokey, or Honest, which will remain in your hand most of the time, these are usually the only Exceeds I go into. If you want to run Ghost Trick Dullahan, you can take out the Princess Sprite and run that as well, just for more of a monster half attack option available to you there as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was definitely a fun deck to make and put together, and I hope you guys definitely try it out. Other than that, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, Kira Twig out.